Hey there, you are very welcome to my live. Yeah, it's here, it's me, it's Tuesday. I'm pretty sure this is my hump day because it's my busiest day of the week. And coffee had to be had before I went live, and I ran over with a client, so I'm extremely sorry about that. First of all, what we're actually talking about today is the 5 life-changing habits. Now, I am biased because obviously these 5 habits changed my life, and hopefully they'll change yours as well. The big thing with habits and why they helped me, and what I realized only very recently, probably in the last few years or so, is the fact that the systems that I had created pre-diagnosis to ADHD were actually habits I formed to cope with my ADHD, to not feel as much like a failure as I did in the past. Because when you have a condition like ADHD or ADHD, you have great intentions and you can be the planning queen of your existence, and then the follow through can be really bad and it can leave you feeling really shit as well. So the biggest thing I would say that has helped me is creating these 5 really small habits, really doable habits, and then adding on to them from there. So it's probably about 5 or 6 years that I created them, and they just helped me find myself again after kids and really helped me to stay consistent without using the word consistent, because it's not a great word in my opinion, because we're all consistent at really, really different things. So for me, when I worked in corporate, I was in corporate leadership for about 15 years. When I worked in corporate, I really, what would be, I was really kind of structured in what I did. So I would go in for kind of 8:30, 8 o'clock, and I would work through the day. And I had great structure because maybe I'd go to the gym beforehand, had a really good social life, and just worked hard and played hard, and it was brilliant. And it kind of, everything was in perspective. I didn't realize I created all of these systems to cope with my ADHD. I didn't realize what I had done until I left that environment. That environment was kind of like a safe space. It was kind of like a protective space. And if anybody's on and they're asking questions, I'll get to them after, because I am testing different cameras out. So this will be something that I will figure out in future. So it was a safe space. It was a good space for me. And then when I left the corporate environment to start my own business, I had 2 kids, and I really think that, I don't know if anybody who has been diagnosed with ADHD, I really do believe that the symptoms expose themselves when there are a variety of different hormones in your body. So for me, when I am around kind of my menstrual phase and my period, I will experience my ADHD symptoms to the max. So I found that when I had the baby, my first baby, that my ADHD symptoms really, really came to the fore. And what I hadn't got was a system to really cope with that. And actually, I'd say a lot of people thought I was postnatal. It certainly had gone through my head, but it really was just an undiagnosed neurodivergent thing that I had, and that was actually ADHD. But we'll talk about ADHD for the purpose of this. So I started my businesses and I was really thriving. I loved teaching. I do love teaching, full stop. But I found that people would come to the classes and the one aim that they had was to lose weight. And they would get really kind of disenfranchised and really down when they didn't lose weight with Pilates. I am a qualified Pilates teacher. I still teach a little bit. And I would be killed explaining to people that you will not lose weight with Pilates. I have been on my own like weight loss journey throughout my life. I've lost significant amounts of weight. I've actually probably put on close to a stone in the last 3 years when I stopped drinking alcohol. But I just thought to myself, like, Pilates is for your head, it's for your strength, your flexibility, your mobility, your balance. It's for so many different things, but it's not for losing weight. So there was probably that people got a little bit disillusioned, and the people that got it. They knew that they would, if they wanted to lose weight, they would have to look at what was happening in the kitchen. Not that I'm an advocate of I'm in a happy place now, and as I say, I'm probably about a stone overweight, but mentally I'm in a really good place, so I don't really mind that stone at all. But they realised that would have to happen in the kitchen with a really balanced diet, and that there probably had to be something extra than Pilates. So like Pilates once a week, or some of my clients did it twice or 3 times, wasn't going to be enough movement in order for them to lose weight for themselves. And as I say, that became really disheartening for some people, and it became disheartening for me, because I was kind of like, it should be about your whole well-being. So get out and walk in nature and do things that bring you fun. And you know, a Pilates class once a week, it's really fun and it's really social. But if your goal in life is to lose weight, then the joy is going to come out of it pretty quickly, like after a few terms. So I decided in 2021 I got COVID, and I really struggled with my digestive system, and I really struggled to speak. So I actually lost my breath when I spoke, when I had conversations, which is probably a relief to some people. So I decided, I recovered within a few weeks, and I had a bit of the term left, and I decided that it was going to take, I really think I had long COVID, it was going to take something, some strength to get me back to teaching. I just literally couldn't demonstrate and talk at the same time. So I decided that I was going to close the studio, and I was going to focus on the business side of things and helping people with their habits more than anything else. So that was the evolution to where we are now. And during that time, I really felt that I was displaying this life of balance, and I wouldn't say I was balanced whatsoever. I was probably drinking too much. I had 2 small kids, my mental health wasn't 100%. So I always found that for me, for my movement, for my exercise, the best thing was always a walk for me. It was always to get out in nature, whether it was with somebody or by myself. Usually I preferred to be by myself. As with ADHD, efficiency and time can be a thing. So when I would schedule a walk, I would want to listen to a podcast or a book at the same time, and I was kind of like, oh, if I don't listen to something, it's such a waste of time. And I had to get out of that mindset as well, because it was like, no, an hour's peace without any interruptions, without any kind of, without anybody, just me and nature, is a wonderful thing. So that's why I decided that I would make sure that at least once a week I got a tech-free walk in. So really with the 5 habits, as I say, I was always kind of had to get up early because I was working in corporate, and then when I didn't work in corporate anymore and I had my kids, I co-slept with my kids. I lost very little sleep with my kids because I fed them to sleep. I put them back to sleep feeding. So sleep is a huge priority for me. So I was not losing sleep because of children, and they were good kids as well. Like, there was no colic, there was no kind of sleep issues. So I was very, very lucky, and I'm very grateful for that as well. So what I found when they kind of went into the NENA system, or like the preschool system, and then into school, that I struggled. So I was talking about, like, well-being and other people, protecting the well-being, and I was giving them ideas, but I really internally was struggling with my own overall well-being. And I literally got a calendar out, a weekly calendar, and I thought to myself, where can I give myself extra space? And when I'm being really really kind of in your face on, especially on TikTok. People are like, you can't create extra time, and it's not. I mean, we all know that X amount of hours exist in a day, so you have 24 hours in a day. You're not creating a 25th hour. But what I did was I looked at the calendar and I thought, where can I fit the life I want to in? And the only 2 hours that seemed to work were the 2 hours before I got up. So essentially I was getting out of bed about 7:45, and I realised that if I got up at 5:45 I could do a hell of a lot more for me. So initially it was, I went into a cold turkey. What I do say to a lot of my clients, because a lot of my clients have ADHD, they are neurodivergent, and it's like, oh my God, defeated before we even start. And what I say to my clients, and what has worked for a lot of them, and many of them do the cold turkey thing and just go straight away into getting up like an hour earlier. But if you set your alarm clock 5 minutes earlier on a Monday morning and do that for 6 weeks, you've gained an extra half an hour for you. So essentially, instead of sleeping, you'll gain that extra half an hour, and you continue to do this for as long as you wish. Now, I do get pushback from people. Oh, I'd rather stay in bed. If you'd rather stay in bed, stay in bed. You're allowed to do that. Social media, as I always say, is prescriptive. It's not dictatorial. It's subjective. It's not prescriptive or dictatorial. It's just what you want to do. So this is what worked for me. This is what has given me extra time in my day. So initially I would go to a class, whether it was in my local gym or whether it was in my bike row ski class, which I love, which goes against everything that they say a woman in her mid-40s should do, because it's really high intense, probably releases a lot of cortisol into my body, but I don't care because I absolutely love it. And that really links in with the whole move with joy. I love getting up for that class. I try and get there 4 times a week. If I don't get there 4 times a week, I know I'm probably going to get there 3. The crew in the early morning class is brilliant. There's a bit of banter. You're kind of getting a bit of social in, and then the class is over by about 7:05 in the morning. So I'm so grateful that I have that, and that I can afford to do that as well. I know that, times can be tough for everybody, but I don't drink alcohol, so that's where some of my funds go on a monthly basis. So previously, like I'd say in the last kind of 3 or 4 years, I was very regimented that I would go straight down the beach and have a walk. But I would say in the last 6 months, I've been less so. And the reason for this is that I found that if I come home straight away after the class, rather than doing like a half an hour's walk, I actually get ahead of myself for the day within the house and with the kids and everything like that. And actually that has brought me a lot more peace. So I've kind of sat back about 3 or 4 months ago and thought to myself, where can I get my walk in the day? So now I walk with a friend on a Tuesday night, I walk with another friend on a Saturday morning, walk with my partner on a Wednesday, make sure I get my tech walk in on a Friday. But I really do look, where can I fit them in? And the biggest key for me is actually writing it down, whether it's in a crappy planner or a digital planner, just making sure that it's there, because like the biggest promises that we can break are the promises to ourselves. So I would say that put any movement that you do, any exercise that you do, put it down in a diary or a planner, and once you're looking at it, you're less likely not to do it. Not to do it. So that was kind of the second one. The third one is drinking water. And a lot of people I know don't drink a lot of water. Me, I probably get 3 litres in a day, but that's because I'm exercising as well. I would say if you can get 2 to 3 litres in. And the biggest key for this, I mean, if you need to do dilute flavoured teas without caffeine, do that. I drink hot water in the winter if you feel that at this time of year cold water is too cold. And what I've done is I have a glass that is 500 mils, And I know if I'm doing 2 litres a day, I only have to drink that 4 times. And I bring one of them to bed with me every night. So before I actually even go to my class, I have 500 mils in me. So it's kind of a good thing that, find, if it's 400 mils, if it's 300 mils, find a glass that you love to drink from and that you know how many times you have to drink it. So if it's 300 mils, maybe 7 glasses a day will bring you up to just over 2 litres. The last two are probably the most difficult and probably were the most difficult for me to bring into my routine. The first up was gratitude. And actually, about 4 years ago, I listened to, there was a set of podcasts on, I think it was Audible, and it was Mel Robbins. And I remember being in the gym and I remember turning it off and going, fuck off, Mel Robbins, you absolute twat, because she was talking utter shite into my ear. And then, probably about 5 years ago actually, and then about 2.5 years ago, I listened to her book, her 2 books actually in a row, and they really resonated with me. And I think that happens to a lot of my clients as well, is that things that you weren't willing to listen to or you weren't willing to address 3 or 4 years ago, you might be able to look at now, you might be willing to hear now. And sometimes we're not in the space to hear what we want to hear or what we need to hear or what we can hear, because I don't want to put any shoulds or what would maybe be best for us to hear. And gratitude was one of them. I roll at the thought of gratitude. I don't necessarily journal. I know a lot of people who do journal. I think my ADHD brain prevents me from journaling as it does meditation. I have tried meditation numerous times and everybody's like, oh my God, it's so life-changing. I am just like, so it is, as I say, subjective, find what works for you. But gratitude for me started with one thing in the morning, one thing before, while I'm drinking my water, one thing that I am grateful for. And sometimes I am grateful for my 2 screaming kids that drive me mad. Sometimes I am grateful for a client that may be cancelled because it gave me extra time back in my day to do something that I had been avoiding. So what I would tend to do, like, you can be very wishy-washy with gratitude, and I actually think that's a good thing. Utilize that when you're starting your gratitude journey. I'm very grateful for my health, boxed off. We all are very grateful for our health, very grateful for our friendship circle, very grateful for our social lives, very grateful. And something mundane can really help just create that habit, create that intention. And we talk about in any work that I do with my clients and in the Design Your Life program, we talk about the habit loop and the trigger. And my trigger from gratitude is that glass of water. So I know when I'm drinking that glass of water, I have that trigger for gratitude. And it's like I trigger while I'm drinking water, what I'm grateful for. And then after that, I've had a lovely glass of water and I feel good because I've been appreciative. And now I find during the day that there's probably about 5 or 6 times where I just stop and kind of look around and go, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this. And that's what has worked with me. I do love to write, but I'm probably quite poor at it. And it's something that is on my list of things in 2025 to improve on. So maybe that gratitude journey will evolve. But at the moment, I'm grateful for the fact that I can stop in the now and go, oh, I'm really excited about this and I'm really grateful for this. So the last of the 5 life-changing habits for me is letting go. And this has been huge, and it's been like such a monumental journey for me. The power of letting go is huge, and to start, it can be really daunting. I would say that there's 3 things fundamentally that you can let go of. You can let go of a physical thing. So if you want to start your your letting go journey, you could kind of do 10 days of letting go of one physical thing every single day. So use it as an excuse to clear out a drawer in your bedroom or in the kitchen, and every day just discard one thing that doesn't bring you joy. And this kind of brings into the fore the whole sustainability thing. So actually how much shit you probably have in your house that you don't need. So that can be really good to start your letting go journey. The other thing is letting go of thoughts, and this can be really difficult because if with ADHD, definitely I tend to ruminate on things. So I've made it a practice of letting go, and I might let go of the same thought over and over and over again. And it's just part of my practice every day. And these are things, letting go of things that I can't control. So, like what people do, what people think, how people react to me, I can't control that. So, I'm just gonna let go of it. Really just let go of it. And I always find as well that if you are struggling to let go of things, if you are struggling and you're holding on to things that have happened in your past, then maybe you need to talk to a health professional. And maybe, because letting go is such a big process, that maybe a simple letting go hack or tip isn't for you, and it's time to kind of, face facts that, maybe you need a little bit more help on this journey. And then letting go of people. And this can seem really selfish, but I saw over Christmas that people were like, oh, I have to sit at the same table as such and such, or I have to do, you don't have to do anything in life. You have to find, like, you kind of endeavour to find a safe space for you and a safe space for you to exist. And that's the priority. You are your priority in life. Even if you have kids, you have to look after yourself. I mean, one of the biggest motivators for me to kind of leave the Pilates studio and design this life that I love so much was I read an article where the key indicator of a child that thrives later on in life is a happy mom. And people always think that it's the absence of a father or the absence of a parent, but actually it's a happy mom. And that's what I endeavour to be, is a really kind of positive role model for my kids, and to be there for my kids, and to know that in the future, even when I'm wrecking their heads, because I've told them that there are times when I am going to wreck your head, that I will be there for them no matter what arises. And even this journey with me being neurodivergent and recognizing that in my daughter, and being able to understand and kind of go, okay, this is what we need to do, and not go crazy because her room isn't clean, and not go crazy because her brother does things differently to her. Understand that it's a process, and I can't just tell her clean your room because it's so overwhelming. I give her instructions: pick up your clothes from the floor, put them on the bed, fold them up and put them. So you have to be very, very clear with the instructions. So I would say you don't have to sit at the tables of those people. You can simply just create your own table and have people there that you want to. And the biggest learning for me in the last 6 months is that when you start to reciprocate the energy that you receive from people, you'll soon see who is going to stick around. Because sometimes people treat the neurodivergent friend like a fucking idiot, and just because we handle things differently, or we're talkative, or we're excitable, or we're not available, or we can change moods, or we are the most loyal people that you can have in your life, we are the least jealous and envious people. Honestly, jealousy doesn't really appear in my vocab, and it hasn't since I was about 15 or 16. I was very jealous with my first boyfriend, and that's another story. but I was a very jealous person in a relationship. And when I kind of changed that and put that on its head in the early 20s, my early 20s, um, that was the only, I'd say that was the only time in my life I was ever jealous. If anything good happened for my friends, for people in my family, I was genuinely very, very happy. But that wasn't reciprocated to me. So when you give people the energy that you are receiving, things really, really change. And yeah, it's really noticeable. So 5 different habits: getting up a little bit earlier to suit you, and be purposeful with the time. Make sure that time goes to you and not to somebody else. But if it goes to somebody else, make sure that you're happy with that. Drinking 2 to 3 litres of water every day. Get that glass that you love. Know how many times you have to drink it. Move with joy, because if you don't move with joy, you're going to just stop moving. So move with joy. Gratitude, starting really, really small, and then it'll grow into something magical, and then letting go. So whether it's a thing, a thought, or a person, you deserve to be treated the way you treat other people. You probably will never receive that because, but you deserve that. So if there is people in your life that they know how they are treating you, and then they're surprised by your reaction when you bring it to the table, you can cut people out of your life. It's refreshing, it's peaceful, and yeah, it's interesting. So if you're interested, give us a follow. The 5 Habits Challenge, it's an ongoing accountability program that I have. 30 days of emails, accountability, checking in for those 5 specific habits. You can add your own on. And there's 2 ways in which you can do the 5 Habits Challenge, which I love. We have momentum builders. So I actually kind of, every 4 or 5 days, we start with one of the habits and then we kind of snowball on, or you can start everything now. So you can start the 5 habits now, which is obviously what I would do with ADHD. I'd be like, give it all to me now. So if you've asked a question, I hope I can see the questions after, because I am just going to turn off the camera, because yeah. And